The Democratic National Convention kicked off yesterday.
Oh, boy.
And with it, the Democratic National Committee's platform was officially approved, mapping out mainstream guidelines party faithful will most likely be following. And the platform actually, says the Democrats will take action to expunge federal marijuana-only convictions, while notably omitting any explicit language about decriminalizing and legalizing. Big shout out to Kevin Sabet from Project Sam for a job well done on his lobbying to get them to not say shit in there. He's not playing both sides. Follow the money. Anyways, I'm sure the rest of the week will have plenty of that quote unquote no one should be in jail just for using or possessing marijuana bullshit Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have been parroting every time they're near anyone melanated. But the fact Tim Walz, a noted anti-prohibitionist, is now atop the ticket puts a little more weight beyond the pander, in my opinion. While it's true we're still months out from the election and anything could happen to put the spiraling Republican ticket back ahead in the polls, the reality is with Harris and Walz, we may just have the first openly consensus pro-legalization Oval Office duo in history. And if that happens, what comes next? Well, Benzinga's Abby Higginbottom sat down with RX Green Technology CEO Gary Santo, where the exec shared his thoughts on how he believes things will go down. Here are the highlights. While acknowledging the potential benefits, Santo remains cautious about whether this political shift will lead to meaningful action. Having outwardly affirmative leadership at the top who believes in cannabis is excellent. However, he questioned whether cannabis would be a priority for the Harris-Walz administration, given other pressing national issues. Will cannabis be one of the platforms they prioritize, or will they delegate it to the rest of the government, as we've seen with the Biden administration? While reflecting on the current state of cannabis regulation, he said this: I think the good news is the regulatory environment cannot get any worse for cannabis, right? So it's not only going to get better, he said. However, he emphasized that progress may be slow as other priorities could delay significant changes. On rescheduling, he thinks that the process will be long and drawn out. I think we saw the whole rescheduling announcement that there was a little bump, but the market gave a lot of that back because I think everybody realized that whatever comes out, it will take time to implement. Then he gave the usual Chad Zinga boring yet tried and true take on investor confidence. It's all about focusing on fundamentals. Here's what he said: investors should focus on strong operators who are succeeding despite the current regulatory challenges. Higginbottom said that, right? What's the fucking point of an interview? Higginbottom said that Santo pointed out that initial excitement around political developments often fades as the realities of implementation set in. It's not like something is going on that's going to make cannabis illegal where it was once legal. That's not going to happen. And an otherwise boring interview as softball pitches all hit the infield's feet. I think the question about how a Harris-Walz ticket would handle things is legit, right? So that being said, we've been the most pandered to yet ignored social issue in politics for nearly a decade now by both sides. While everybody in the industry knows how important cannabis is and can be to the economy, to people's health, to people's freedom, it seems as if cannabis has fallen into the traditional role of Black women's support for the Democratic Party.
Oh boy.
Only important when they need the votes. Well, maybe if a Black woman's in charge of the whole damn thing, it'll actually happen this time. I doubt it. Maybe. I personally believe that the Democrats win. We'll just get 4 more years of the lip service without much action. So I actually do agree with a bunch of Gary Santo's non-answers here. But here's the thing, man. I know the story I was going to cover, I forgot to put in, and Jenny Beth is going to take it. Is taking that story about Morocco and them expunging and giving pardons for like past convictions. Like, even if we don't get much more like legislatively done, if we get a lot more done on the criminal justice angle, I think that's going to be a win for a lot of people, a lot of families, a lot of folks that have been separated, and it will at least start the healing. And what this administration, and keep it a buck, in Donald Trump's work prior to, that is what's resonating around the rest of the world. So I think that's something to be positive about. And the fact that both Walz and Kamala Harris, like, not talking about the past, talking about it right now, are rhetorically supporting it, I think that's a win at the very least. So I'm sure I'm going to get some pushback from y'all on this one, so let's do it. So I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High at 9 News. What do y'all think?
Cannabis.
I mean,
cannabis.
Go ahead, Saman. Go, no, please.
No, I'm sick of the pandering, but also I'm sick of cannabis being used as the bargaining chip. It's always going to be the bargaining chip. That's why we're not seeing anything move, because these bureaucrats, these politicians who don't give a shit about what's best and what's most valuable to a struggling economy, which is an industry like cannabis, to proliferate quickly. We're going to see it always on the hearts and minds tip, and never on the getting shit done tip. So I think we all know what time it is. Everybody in the United States that's a savvy entrepreneur is pivoting, and they're making the best with what they have, but the government's not helping us, and you're just creating more dissent throughout these industries.
Isn't every piece of legislation, though, a bargaining chip?
I mean,
every one of them is.
I agree with that, but at the same time, at least he was somewhat honest. He was like, hey, rescheduling is going to be a long, drawn-out process, yada, yada, yada. And in all reality, there's going to be a lot of things that probably get in the way, so don't expect any of us to act on it anytime fast. So at least he was telling the truth on that, because we know that the Democrats are just going to use this issue to just gaslight the public and like, yeah, we're going to do it, and then never do it. It's the same thing we had with Obama.
Jenny Beth?
I mean, I think we need to be...
As a black woman, I just have to ask you, like, directly, like, was I spot on with, like, the black women supporting Democrats getting in office and not getting anything out of that shit, like, every fucking election? I'm not saying you, obviously, you're not a Democrat, but the pandering to the black women at the last minute to get in office.
You mean having Meg the Stallion perform at her speech in Atlanta was pandering? Oh, damn.
Or
no, I think
like literally Joe Biden saying you're not black.
Unfortunately, I don't think it's just black women. I don't think it's just black men. I don't think it's just, black and brown people. I think that a lot of Americans don't know how to vote their own best interests, and therefore are distracted by these shiny objects like cannabis policy. I mean, we need to be realistic here. Like, as much as for us, cannabis is a very major issue. For the people who are running in this election and the people who are going to support them and the bureaucrats this is not a main issue. This is something that is a distraction and is used to like rally support around maybe marginalized groups, maybe whoever you think you can pander to with it, right? But we need to be realistic, and like, if you're looking at the policy reasons that you are going to vote for a candidate, don't look at the cannabis stuff, because they're not going to touch it anyway. This is a hot trigger word, but it's not something that is a main important piece of policy to them. So, I mean, I would look at other policies when you're making your decisions.
I think Megan Thee Stallion was just there to improve the relations with Japan after we didn't go to the Hiroshima.
Time for the twerculator. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah, that's a good point, Jenny. I'm surprised they didn't have the twerculator come out there.
I mean, at least he didn't have a racist. At least she didn't have like a racist ex-pro wrestler on stage ripping his shirt off. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right,
brother.
Let's keep it a buck.
Sir,
hey, all you Hulkamaniacs.
The tape is still out there on the internet.
I'm not taking. I'm not taking any of that.
The tape's still out there on what Hulk Hogan.
That's total bait.
You were asking me about pandering to black women, and I think that's what having a Meg the Stallion concert to gain numbers for your rally is.
I 100% agree. I 100% agree with you.
Look at that.
Shout out to the home state, but you guys got guys.
Hulk Hogan was pandering, and Hulk Hogan and Kid Rock were pandering to white trash.
Yeah, probably. Did it work, Todd? I'm kidding.
I don't know.
Damn, shots fired.
Wow.
Yarrow, you've been pretty quiet this morning. What's going on? Did someone got your tongue?
No, I'm letting other people get a word in edgewise while my third cup of coffee kicks into my limbic system.
Yeah.
I think these pundits are covering the different perspectives on this pretty well without me. It's hard to admit. And I think my opinion on this has never really changed on this show, which is that all of the run up to the election and all the conversations around cannabis policy seem more designed to sell the hope of the most likely unfulfilled potential of either side. Oh, Trump's a maverick. He can do whatever he wants. He doesn't care. Or, Harris has shifted on the issues and, she understands because of who she is and her life's journey, what the injustices that need to be fixed. And at the end of the day, like, I'm not holding my breath on either side because, Trump was already in office and did little to nothing. And Harris and Biden have already been in office and done little to nothing. And so while the
Trump
topic is
just saying in comparison.
Not when it comes to cannabis reform on a federal level.
He legalized cannabis with the Farm Bill. What do you mean? THCA, bro.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I just think that, we're talking about the possibility of two candidates who have arguably already had the opportunity to do a lot and haven't. And so I'm just not holding my breath. I'm not holding my breath because I think that what they're trying to do is get people to be convinced that they're going to do more than they're actually going to do. And and in some ways that's probably their job, but it doesn't inspire me in any way. And I also don't think this is the issue the election should turn on.
Fair enough.
Should we even be inspired anymore? Like, we all know, like this has been like the blue balls, like it's been blue balls for whatever candidate you want in office, like since, well, goddamn, like since whatever, since ever, like they all say a bunch of shit that never happens, and we all get into a war and it gets put on the back burner, and then they just bring it up the next election. Am I right? Like, isn't that American politics?
Look, so these politicians are not celebrities. We should not be idolizing these politicians. That's just like the truth. And the fact that like so many people revere these insane like liars, I mean, they're all liars. It just says a lot about our society. It says a lot about who we value in our society and what we look for as the wool over our eyes. We love it. We love to be lied to. We love to be, told the promises. We love to be held up.
Love to be gaslit.
Let down. We love it. We love
the gaslighting.
Politics is Hollywood for ugly people.
I was going to say that same thing, Todd. You're so right. You're so right. And on that, we're going to go to our commercial and we're going to be right back.